Welcome to today's edition of Pareto TV. My name is Christian Moxon. I work in the investment banking division of Pareto Securities here in Oslo. We are very excited to have Viktor Hovland joining us this morning in order to recap recent events and discuss a few other items that we'd like to get his input on this morning. Welcome, Viktor.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's good to be with you again. It's been a while since the last time, so excited to catch up again.
Perfect. So last time we sat down and spoke was in July when you were in our office and got a tour. Quite a lot has happened in your life since then, at least. I think just to recap, you played the Open. Got a 12th place there. You played the Olympics. You participated in the Ryder Cup for the first time, hopefully not the last time. And you also recently last week won your third PGA Tour event, repeating in Mexico since the win last year. It's been quite a ride.
Yeah, it's obviously we last spoke in July, and it feels like a long time ago because there's been so many things that have been happening every single week, and it's kind of hard to sit back and kind of digest everything that's been going on. But now that we kind of reached the end of the year, I feel like I can kind of do that. It's been a great year for me. I feel like I've gotten a lot better in almost every single part of my game, and it was nice to get that last win just a couple weeks ago here, just kind of for myself, just to validate the things that I've been doing, because really I've played well the whole year, but to get that win on the PGA Tour this year was felt really good.
Great. I think from our perspective, even though the PGA Tour sort of has a weird calendar shift, it's on a yearly basis in terms of how the rest of the world thinks about it. So do you feel like you've met your targets for this year? Did you miss out on anything, or did you overachieve?
It's hard to say. In my mind, it will be very hard to overachieve. I set some pretty high goals for myself, and I definitely say that this year was a good step towards where I want to get to. There's still some things to work on, which you could say is a negative, but I kind of view it as a positive because I've already gotten to the point where I'm at, and I still have lots of rooms for improvement. So I'm pretty excited about that. What next year's gonna hold, and hopefully I can compete in a couple majors. I don't really like to set particular result goals. I feel like you can do a lot of things well and you can improve, but that doesn't necessarily equate to the finishes or the wins that you might anticipate. Just looking at Jon Rahm's here this year, he only won, I think, once. Now, it did happen to be the U.S. Open, but he was clearly the best player in the world and only won once. So golf's a funny game, and I think if you just kind of focus on getting a little better every day, and at the end of the year, you can kind of rack up how many wins or top 10s or top 5s you got, and kind of move on from there.
Great. Last time we spoke, we talked about sort of looking at performance in terms of statistics and improving specific parts of the game. Are you still looking at the same statistics, or have you sort of changed what you focus on?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same stuff. Now I would say, so for example, one thing that was a big deal with how I used the stats and kind of how I started playing better at the second half of the year was I actually put some new irons in the bag early in the year when actually I happened to play with Chris Ventura at the tournament we played, the team event in New Orleans, and I think I played with those irons for 6 months, and after 6 months, I looked at my stats and I saw that my strokes gained approach, meaning kind of the second shots into par fours and just kind of the approach shots into greens. I was still gaining in that category, but I was not gaining as much as I was with my previous irons. So even though those are things that are hard to kind of put a number on as you're playing with it, but that's one of the benefits of having kind of these metrics and these stats that you can look back and see, okay, wow, last year I was way better going into the greens. And then you start thinking, well, what have I changed? Well, I haven't really changed much of my golf swing. So that's why I went back to my old irons and I put them in. The first week was at the Tour Championship in Georgia, and I finished fifth for the overall FedEx Cup, and I played really, really well that week, and I think I gained like 8 shots going into the green. So that was a big catalyst for finishing the season the way that I did. So there's a lot of things you can do with stats, and if you're not using it to your advantage, I think you're leaving something on the table.
Cool. So speaking of stats, you're now number 9 in the world, and we have noticed that you have your sort of own internal competition going on with Casper Ruud about being best in terms of wins or in terms of ranking. He's currently number 8. So what are you gonna do to catch up?
We got some work to do, that's for sure. Now, I think I did move up a spot by not playing, so if I can do that a few more times, that'd be nice. But no, I definitely have to keep winning and do the things that I'm doing, and hopefully I can eke out Casper in not so long, because it's killing me that he's above me right now. We can't let that happen.
Do you sort of set now sort of specific goals in order to go from 9 to 1, or is the ranking not that important? Is it more about trophies or other metrics that you look at?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that are really cool to see that, okay, I'm ranked number 9 in the world, and it's my personal best, and just to kind of see that every single spot you move up, that's really cool. That's very motivating. But as I said, I moved up a spot by not even playing, so I didn't necessarily get better going from number 10 to number 9. I'm the same player that I was a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think it's really the best gauge of seeing how good you are as a player. But it's one of those things that are cool to have on the side and kind of validate the things you're doing. So other goals would be, you're just trying to win tournaments, and that's going to come up as a result of playing well.
And how much do you sort of look at your competitors in terms of performance? I think, everybody's noticed that you haven't just been spending some time on the range, but you've also sort of beefed up in order to gain some length as well. Is that just Bryson motivating everybody else, or do you see the effects of alternative trading as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Bryson obviously put the kind of the long driver characteristics out there and popularized it a little bit. And again, going back to the stats, you can kind of see how important hitting it further really is. Because even though you might hit it a bit more offline, just getting that extra 10, 20, 15, whatever it is, yards, you're making the golf courses so much easier. So that's something that I've always kind of known, even before Bryson. But over the last year, I think I think I've gained about 10 yards. And that's been huge for me. And obviously being in the gym and getting a little bigger and stronger, that's always going to help that. But I feel like I'm kind of at the point where, standing on the range for 4 hours just hitting balls, it's not going to really help me that much. My swing is kind of my swing. It's not really going to change that much. So now it's kind of trying to figure out, okay, how can I sleep better? How can I eat better? How can I work out better? And how can I spend my time the right way so that I can get better in other ways that I haven't really looked at before?
Cool. And sort of, it might be, a bit premature to ask that question, but you've spent, your whole life coming to the point that where you are today, and you sort of now arrived at the world stage. In golf, you potentially have another 20, 25 years of your career going ahead, and obviously we'd really love for it to last that long and continue the partnership. But how do you stay motivated? Do you think you'll plateau at some point in terms of trying to achieve success, or are you continuously looking at ways to improve and other things?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this game is that you can always improve, and there's always ways to there's always something new to try out. There's new technology coming out, and you can try different things. And just noticing now that I've had 2 weeks off, and this is kind of going into the off season. I don't really want it to be the off season. I kind of want to go out there and play more tournaments, because you get just into the mindset of, okay, I got this tournament coming up, and then 1 week off, and then these tournaments coming up. We got a major next month, next week, WGC, Ryder Cup. I mean, there's just been so much going on this year, and it's just hard to kind of set your mind aside and relax. But at the same time, I try to use that as motivation to the next tournament I'm going to play. So even when I'm home, that doesn't mean that I just sit around and do nothing. Try to go out there and build good routines and try to get better. I mean, I've been doing this for 2.5 years as a pro, but I've been playing amateur golf for a long time too, and it's just a big part of my life, and I'm just kind of a golf nerd, and I don't really see myself quitting anytime soon. We'll see where it goes, but as of right now, I'm just enjoying it.
What has changed in 2.5 years is that you've gone from being an amateur, not making any money, to now making quite a lot of money every time you make the cut. How has that impacted your life?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's tough being an amateur golfer when you're not really getting trips or tournaments kind of covered. You have to pay out of pocket yourself, and you're not making money. So it's you kind of have to be mindful of you can't spend as much money. You gotta pick the right flight times, because they're the flights are cheaper, but it might not be the best time to fly. So it might come as a detriment to your preparations and how your body's going to feel, and et cetera, et cetera. So, if I want to go to Chipotle, I might not get the extra guac because that's another $2.50 extra. So, stuff like that. So it's nice that obviously I play golf because I love golf, but at the same time, it's nice to be able to pay for everything that you need to get better, and obviously have fun on the outside as well. So it's a great living, being a professional golfer is a blast.
Difference now being that, of course, you call the pilot when you're ready to go rather than the other way around.
Not every week. I wish it was, but sometimes that is nice to have.
Great. Well, I think we're sort of at the end of our time today. So Viktor, it was great to see you again. We know that you're going to be in our part of the world at least during Christmas, so it would be great to see you again in person. And we wish you the best of luck for the next tournament, and also going into next year, hopefully adding a few major tournaments to your belt.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on again, and look forward to catching up again.